Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. These people are shameless. They really think they can get away with insulting our intelligence. They really think that we are stupid enough to not only believe their lies, they think we are dumb enough to actually pay for their lies when they finally tell the truth. You know, it would be one thing if I actually believed that Jake the Bongo Tapper changed his mind about our former fearless leader, Johnny B. Biden. Everyone has the right to change their mind. It's okay to change your opinion about something or someone once more information becomes available. Trust me, I know firsthand. My wife, she will say that she wants something, and like a good husband, I was actively listening and taking charge to make it happen. Week or so later, after I've actually went through the trouble of making it happen, my wife will say, "Well, I changed my mind. Everyone has the right to change their mind." Obviously, once you get a little bit more experience, you start to learn that your wife will tell you things using you as a sounding board sometimes. And just because she says that she wants or she needs something, that does not mean that she wants you to take charge and make it happen. Sometimes she just wants you to listen. Us men, myself included, we have trouble with that sometimes, listening. But since John Biden announced 5 or 6 years ago that he was once again fulfilling his lifelong dream of running for president, what has been one of the constant criticisms of our former fearless leader? Well, KC, it's his dedication to diversity. John Biden dreamed of his great-grandson becoming a big star in women's basketball. Yeah, that is true. Johnny B, he wanted to give every man the right to become a star in women's sports. But that was more of a criticism during his presidency. Go all the way back to the start of his campaign, when Johnny B was hiding in his Delaware dungeon, playing Dungeons and Dragons with his imaginary friend Peg with 3 legs. What was something that everyone noticed about Johnny B? What was something that normal people were very worried about? His cognitive decline. For the better part of 5 years, normal people have been talking about the mental decline of Johnny B. Biden. Even in his prime, Johnny B. wasn't the sharpest politician. Remember when he was pretending to be vice president for Barry the Obama? Remember what Barry said about Johnny B. all those years ago? Joe Biden has the unique ability to fuck everything up. That was back when Johnny was running on all cylinders. That was when his IQ crept into the double digits. Throughout the 2020 campaign, Joe Biden was an absolute disaster. There is a reason they were trying to hide him. There's a reason that Johnny B was not allowed on the campaign trail. That's right, KC. Joe Biden was not allowed to campaign because it was too dangerous. Aunt Fauci was traveling the country spreading his COVID love. In the rare event that Johnny B made a public appearance, they blamed the sparse crowd on social distancing. In an arena that seats 20,000 people, the media would claim that only 20 people showed up to see John Biden because they had to be socially distanced. For 5 years, it has been clear to anyone with a set of eyes. Hell, it has been visually clear to the blind that John Biden was experiencing a massive decline. We did not need doctors at Woke Memorial Hospital to diagnose the problem. Pretend Dr. Jill Biden. She could diagnose John's decline, and she is not qualified to diagnose a bunion. Everyone seemed to notice the cognitive decline of John Biden except the mainstream media. One of the leading voices in the cover-up of John's decline, it was Jake the Bongo Tapper. Anytime someone would highlight the decline of John Biden, Jake Tapper would be visceral in his fake outrage. He would be condescending. He would blindly defend his fearless leader. The Bongo Tapper, he would attempt to convince the dozens of people watching CNN that John Biden was just fine. Don't worry, friends. John Biden's doing great. It is not childlike for him to eat ice cream. He is just showing they and them that he is willing to taste the rainbow. For 5 years, Jake Tapper defended John Biden. But all of a sudden, with his fearless leader 1 month removed from the White House, Jake Tapper is releasing a book about the Biden administration. After spending the past 5 years monetizing his defense of John Biden, Jake Tapper is now trying to monetize the cover-up that he was a part of. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the second channel is in the description below. This morning on the second channel, talked about the NHL failing to capitalize in the ratings on the Four Nations tournament. Now, this led to a somewhat spirited debate on the channel Discord server. In terms of the mainstream, I think the NHL is irrelevant. Some of my channel members, they disagreed with me. But either way, if you haven't already, head over to the second channel and subscribe. 5 years ago, the lovely Laura Trump, she was on the campaign trail. She was a part of a panel of women who were sitting far too close to each other at the height of the COVID. Instead of being 60 feet apart, these ladies were barely 6 inches apart. Not only that, they weren't wearing masks. Oh no! There is no telling how many dangerous germs were spread while Laura Trump was pointing out the cognitive decline of Johnny B. Biden. But during the event, Laura Trump, she was kind of sympathizing with Johnny B. She was explaining why she felt bad for him because he didn't seem comfortable speaking publicly. She felt bad because Johnny B. Biden was having trouble completing sentences. Even though his constant mistakes were humorous, after a while, it just started getting sad. Watching John Biden, it was like watching the pretend basketball players in the WNBA dump. When you see one missed wide open layup, it's funny. When you see Bob Griner airball a dunk, you have a good laugh about it. But when you see it over and over and over, it starts to lose its comedic effect. And it just starts to be pathetic. That's how the last 4 years were with Johnny B. Biden. Remember when he was suddenly hit with the devastating doodle while on stage in Europe? Normally, when someone changes the color of their pants from white to brown, you laugh about it. But with Johnny B., it was another reminder that this is the guy with access to the nuclear codes. Anyway, 5 years ago, Laura Trump, she was highlighting his cognitive decline. Following day, for reasons unknown, she decided to make an appearance on CNN with Jake the Bongo Tapper. Now, Jake, he was not concerned about the cognitive decline of Johnny B. The Tapper, he wasn't concerned that we could be electing a president who not only thinks his wife is a doctor, he also thinks his wife is his husband. But Jake, he wasn't concerned about that. He was more concerned with how the children were feeling watching Laura Trump make fun of Joe Biden. The children! It's all about the children! Watch for yourself.
Every time he comes on stage or they turn to him, I'm like, Joe, can you get it out? Let's get the words out, Joe. You kind of feel bad for him.
How do you think it makes little kids with stutters feel when they see you make a comment like that?
First and foremost, I had no idea that Joe Biden ever suffered from a stutter. I think what we see on stage with Joe Biden, Jake, is very clearly a cognitive decline.
Okay.
That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable
You have
to watch somebody on stage search for
That's so amazing.
questions
It's so amazing to me
and try and figure out an answer.
A cognitive decline.
Well, when you're trying to tell me that what I was suggesting was
I think that you were mocking his stutter.
Yeah,
I think you were mocking his stutter, and I think you have absolutely no standing to diagnose somebody's cognitive decline. I would think that somebody in the Trump family would be more sensitive to people who do not have medical licenses diagnosing politicians from afar. You don't have any standing to say.
I'm not diagnosing him. What I'm saying, Jake,
you just talked
is
about
that
a cognitive decline.
Did you notice the condescension? Did you see how defensive he was? Did you see how angry Jake Tapper was because Laura Trump had the audacity to question the cognition of Johnny B. Biden? As always, he pretended to be worried about the children, but there's not a child in this country paying attention to politics. I mean, how many 5-year-olds do you know that are watching CNN? Hell, how many 45-year-olds are watching CNN? There was not a child in this country that was offended because people were questioning the mentality of John Biden. And for 5 years, The mainstream media, they covered it up. For 5 years, Jake the Bongo Tapper and his woke welfare subsidizers at CNN covered it up. This morning, Jake Tapper announces that he is releasing a new book. Book is scheduled to be released in May, but he is accepting pre-orders now. Now, my inside sources, they are telling me that his publisher was anticipating so much traffic to the website, they were worried about their servers crashing. Unfortunately, 8 hours after his big announcement, my sources are telling me that 0 copies have been pre-ordered. The title of the book is Original Sin. Tagline reads, President Biden's decline, its cover-up, and his disastrous choice to run again. Really, Jake Tapper? Really? If this was a book written by Sean Hannity, I'd get it. But Jake Tapper? The same Jake Tapper that was complicit in the cover-up? The same Jake Tapper that was part of the strategy? I know what Jake Tapper is going to say. He's going to claim that the mainstream media was lied to by the Biden absolution. He is going to claim that John Biden told them that he was okay and they believed it. But even if that's true, that does not absolve you. If John Biden called Uncle KC and said, "Hey KC, it's me, Johnny B. I know you're talking about my cognitive decline, but those rumors just aren't true. Johnny B's as sharp as a cucumber." You think I would have believed that shit? You think I would have believed that because John Biden is telling me he is okay, that he's actually okay? Last I checked, Jake Tapper has eyes. Matter of fact, I know he has eyes because he just wrote a damn book. It takes a lot of time to write a book. According to Jake Tapper, he interviewed over 200 people for this book. Now, from the time that you come up with the idea to contacting people, setting up the interviews, doing your own research, actually sitting down to write the book, submitting your manuscript, going through the editing and publishing process, at minimum, it took Jake Tapper at least a year to write this book. My guess is it probably took him 2 years, which means all that time that Jake Tapper was on CNN defending John Biden, he was writing a book about the cover-up and the defense of John Biden. I'll be honest with you, I will probably buy the book. I'm sure it'll be an interesting read. The problem is, I'm going to have a hard time believing it because of the author. How am I supposed to believe anything that's written by Jake Tapper? You tell me, how is anyone supposed to believe it? To me, the release of this book, it just makes Jake Tapper look like a liar. Someone please, make it make sense. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys tomorrow.